Okay. So Andrew Sullivan, basically crazy person, goes on Joy Behar, another crazy person, to talk about the inconsistencies of, I guess, the unbelievability of Sarah Palin's pregnancy or whatever. I get such a kick out of it. It doesn't even make me mad. It's just hilarious. I mean, first of all, why somebody would even obsess over something like that just cracks me up. I mean, you got people on the right, some people that don't think Obama was born here or whatever. But at least that question has something to do with actual qualifications to be president. You know, it has some political relevance. What on earth does Trig have to do with anything? It's just, you know, on the one hand, you got the crazy Trig truthers, you know, who are obsessed. I mean, here's the thing. These people are people that hate Sarah Palin's guts, and yet they're obsessed with her. So, what are they going to do? I mean, what are you going to do with somebody that you hate but you can't stop talking about? You know, it will get to this level of just absolute absurdity, where they twist everything and they just become paranoid. I mean, you know, it's hilarious. And then, but what cracks me up, the difference between a Trig truther and a birther, you know, you do not have to prove that you are Trig Palin's mother to be the President of the United States, okay? You do have to prove that you were born here. Listen, I don't really care about the whole birth certificate thing. I really don't. I don't even look into it. Why? Because it's pointless. The only reason that people bring it up is because they want some excuse to get Obama out of office. Which, you know, again, if he doesn't want to, he's shown some stuff. Again, I haven't even looked into it. But if he doesn't want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, I mean, he doesn't have to. There's nothing that compels him to. So he's not going to. So all this fruitless walking, you know, running around looking for stuff, and again, I think he's produced some stuff, some like certificate of live birth or something. I mean, going around and digging all these holes, it's pointless. It's not going to get you anywhere. He's not going to show it if he doesn't want to show it, and it's just dumb. It's just a waste of time and energy. You're not going to get him out of office over this, so you might as well just forget it. But again, you do not have to prove you are Trig Palin's mother to be President of the United States. You do, however, have to prove that you were born here. Theoretically, anyway, you have to prove it. Because that's an actual qualification. Trig Palin has nothing to do with anything political. Okay? It's just, these people are sick. They're sick, disgusting, depraved people. They just, you know, they look at something like Sarah Palin having a child when she's 44 years old, and the governor, and who has Down syndrome, and embracing that child, and, you know, being proud of that child, and, you know, her, and they see something that really is kind of beautiful, and they just can't let it stand. They cannot, you know, they have to tear it down and twist it around and turn it into something as ugly as they possibly can. Because they're sick, low-life people that they can't tolerate anything in this world that might show them up for the disgusting things that they are. If there's anything good out there, it must be torn down. You must prove that it is just as slimy as I am. Because that goodness is in sharp contrast to my depravity. So, you know, if you're depraved, whatever. You know, just be cool with your depravity. Don't try to tear other people's goodness down. You know, and all this stuff. Why would somebody be obsessed with something so personal? I mean, it's the woman's pregnancy. I mean, it's just, I mean, you've got to be sick. You just got to be sick. Listen, I don't care what goes on in Obama's personal life. I really don't. I don't pay any attention to that. I don't know anybody on the right who does. It doesn't matter. Nobody would be that cruel. But, I mean, they must excoriate every aspect of Sarah Palin's personal life. And this stuff about, well, no mom would do that if she was so pregnant, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't know. not all pregnant women are created equal, but some of the pregnant women I've known, it's like, when they're the most pregnant, I mean, ready to have the kid, they just get these nesting instincts, you know. I must move the heaviest piece of furniture that I have across the house. I mean, it's just the idea that women wouldn't do something like that, or fly. I mean, a woman just had a baby on a plane a little bit ago. I mean, come on. What world do you live in? You know, and they're like, well, she was having contractions, blah, blah, blah. She never said that her water broke. She said she was leaking some amniotic fluid. They called the doctor, whatever, and said, you know, well, it looks like you're fine to fly, but you should get home just in case. But she wasn't in labor, you know. And in other interviews, you know, right after the effect, you know, because she mentioned some contractions, in the interviews right after, she said that they were Braxton Hicks because she had been having them on and off throughout the pregnancy, so she didn't, but this one just felt a little different, but she didn't think really anything of it. And, you know, and there's also a thing, but it doesn't matter, okay? What difference does it make? She was down there, it was 5 weeks before she was going to give birth. I mean, she's had 4 other kids. You would think that she would know. You know? And she gets on a plane, she comes home, and she has the kid. And he's fine. So, you know, all's well that ends well. And you would just think that these people would move on. But no. They hate her and they're obsessed with her. So this is the stuff that they pick on. It's just, you know, and what are they trying to prove? I mean, okay, let's just say that the craziness of Trig Truth, let's just say it comes out they're right. You know, either it wasn't really her kid or whatever. Why would anybody... I mean, it's physically impossible that it was Bristol's kid, you know, unless there's some people that think that Tripp isn't really Bristol's kid. They just borrowed some random baby to put it in front of the camera and say, this is my child, to cover up the fact that Trig is really Bristol's kid. And yet when Levi walks around, they'll talk about, oh, how Levi is fighting for his son and Bristol. They can't even get their own stupidity straight. But it's just... You know, but let's just say that the most extreme, you know, that she just randomly decided to pretend that she was pregnant and adopt some random Down syndrome child. I mean, who would do that? That defies all logic and, I mean, and of course in their twisted mind, well, she's crazy. That's why she would do something like that. It's just, all you have to do is look at Trig Palin to know that he's a Palin kid. Okay, he looks just like his brother and sisters. It's just, the level of these people are insane. They're crazy. And it's pointless. And really, listen, Obama can always use the birthers as, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, there are people that just like conspiracy theories, you know, and they like to think that, well, maybe he's not a U.S. citizen, blah, blah, blah. But he can always use that as a hammer. See, oh, those crazy people that don't even think I was born here. Well, Sarah Palin can do the same thing. You know, all she has to do is pin Trig Truther onto all the far left attacks. And she has completely dismissed you. Why do you harp on this? You're only killing yourself. Which maybe I shouldn't point that out because, what was it she said in her book? You know, when your enemy is destroying themselves, just don't get in their way. Just let them kill themselves.